I want to discuss with you guarantor mortgages. It does have another name. It's called joint borrower sole proprietor. And there's a few main points and I'd like to discuss with you on this, okay? So the actual guarantor does not have to be a blood relation. Normally when this is done, it's usually mum and dad or brother or sister. However, it can actually be a friend, it can be an employer as well that actually guarantors you. This is quite common for students, so their mum and dad or brother or sister will actually guarantor the student. The student doesn't obviously have to have any income, and normally they don't. And it's based on mum and dad's income, or mum or dad's, just one. Now, with most guarantor mortgages, you're allowed up to 4 applicants on a mortgage, and 4 income streams can be taken into consideration. An example of that is a student with mum and dad, they can use both incomes. Now, the next factor on this is the age of the guarantor. Now, with probably about 95% of lenders, the age is based on the older age. So that would be possibly, if you are using mum and dad, it would be mum and dad's age. So if mum and dad are 55, most lenders will go to 70, so it would be like a 15-year term. Some of them go to 75, so that's 20, and some of them even go to 80, but it does depend on your occupation. So obviously if you have a heavy manual job, the lender will probably only go to state retirement age or age 70. However, there are lenders that can go, as I say, to 75 or even 80 depending on your occupation. So that's the next very important factor to take into consideration. There are a couple of lenders that will, for example, if someone is on a small income, will use £20,000, and let's say they've got a kind of occupation like an administrator, for example, and mum and dad are, say, 55 years of age. What this lender will do is they'll assess the low income earner of 20,000, and they will say, well, we'll give you, say, for example, 4 times your income, which is 80,000. So that's based on 80,000 of a mortgage, and the balance would be based on the parents' salaries. And what these lenders will do is they'll give you a longer term for the younger person. So say the person was like under, say, 40, for example, you can use a 25-year term for that 80,000, and the balance can be based on the parents' ages. So if the parents are 55, maybe 15 years, for example. And that's quite a common thing nowadays as well. There's a couple of lenders that will facilitate this kind of type of mortgage. Most lenders will actually go to 90%, which is a 10% deposit. Some go to 95% as well. The most common one usually is 85%. The majority of lenders will definitely accept it on a 15% deposit for the guarantor mortgage. Another thing to mention as well is that the guarantor must take independent legal advice. So that has to be from a separate solicitor from the one that the borrower is actually going to use. Guarantor mortgages are not available on schemes like shared equity schemes. It's just normal kind of mortgages, which is good. And another thing as well is if someone wants to guarantor someone, say mum or dad or brother or sister, they can all live in the property as well, which is another good thing. Gifted deposits are accepted as well in guarantor mortgage. So brother or sister, mum, dad, friend want to gift the deposit to the individual person, then that's fully acceptable. There is another good reason for doing a guarantor mortgage, and that is, we'll just take mum and dad for example again, because that's probably the most common way this is done. With, say, a student or even someone on a low income. The title is usually done just in the sole proprietor's name, which is the person who's going to live in the property normally. And the good thing about that is that the mum and dad then don't have to pay what's called additional dwelling tax if they already own a property as well, which is good, so that's quite a saving. It won't form part of the mum's and dad's estate either, and also in addition to that, it's solely owned by the proprietor, so mum and dad have less tax burden.